because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job.
Plan A, B, and C, they didn't work. Biden couldn't beat Trump. Harris couldn't beat Trump. The multiple legal cases couldn't beat Trump. So now it's up to these lawmakers to try and call for an insurrection. At least this is what many are saying about Congressman Jamie Raskin as he pushes to try to have Trump disqualified from taking office. For a party of supposed joy and unity, they sure like talking about civil war a lot, don't they? Also, I believe that he's forgotten that more than half of the country voted for Donald Trump. To call them a mob, it's a little bit weird, right? Because he's suggesting that if you support Trump, you're a violent person. Now, this rhetoric of disqualifying Trump is getting some traction as more and more liberals are supporting the idea. And the same people who claim that the president-elect is an insurrectionist. Hey guys, I just want to thank y'all so much for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. You guys are absolutely wonderful. I appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and jump in.
First of all, the 14th Amendment, Section 3 says, anybody who takes an oath of allegiance to the Constitution, support and defend the Constitution of the United States, Donald Trump did as president, who thereafter engages in insurrection or gives aid and comfort to an insurrection or insurrectionists, is disqualified, may not hold office, federal, state, or local, period, unless Congress votes. And the House would have to vote to remove the disability, to restore someone's eligibility to hold office by two-thirds vote, and the Senate would have to vote to remove the disability by a 2/3 vote. So this thought experiment leads to the logical conclusion, Brian, and I'm basing it on the express language of the 14th Amendment, that if somebody engaged in insurrection and after taking an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and Congress has not voted to remove that disqualification, that person cannot be sworn in. The Constitution says that. That's not me saying it. So it would naturally flow from that the person swearing in the insurrectionist is engaged in at least an act contrary to the Constitution.
And so now I want you guys to think about something here, okay? They tried to remove Trump from the ballots. Y'all remember that, right? They wanted him disqualified from running as president. And yet here is President-elect Trump. And I want you guys to notice that this narrative that they're talking about here is being characterized as a thought experiment, which means that they're discussing a hypothetical situation. Now, it doesn't actually mean that it's bound to happen. And yet they're talking about an insurrection and they're calling for Congress to lead it. Now, this is Trump derangement syndrome on a whole nother level, guys. Basically urging lawmakers to use the Constitution to fight the Constitution. Unbelievable. And it's even gotten to a point where some of them are releasing write-ups that say that it's plausible for Congress to do this, but that they have to act now before Trump is back in the White House. And while it's an opinion piece, some liberals read the title and believed it straight away.
Oh no. Congress does have that power. They do have the power to block him from taking office January the 20th, 2025. So all of that talk that the Orange Man and Melania is talking about, guess what? Congress could stop it all, y'all. They could stop it all. It could all come to a halt based on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. This is going to be interesting to see, but will they? Will Congress prevent Trump from taking office? Spare us, please.
Again, guess what, guys? A majority of this country voted for the Orange Man, and that's a fact. Now, what's also a fact is that Donald J. Trump has not been charged for citing an insurrection in a court of law. And the same goes for those who were involved in J6. But that doesn't fit what Democrats have been talking about for years now. Because if that was inserted into the conversation, then they'd have to start back to square one. I believe that this is mostly cope at this point, and that this isn't a thought experiment, it's a thought exercise, meaning that liberals are using this opinion piece as a way to think about a situation or experience differently to help them to avoid unhelpful thoughts. Or in this case, Donald Trump being sworn back into the White House. Trump's communications director, Stephen Chang, went on X to blast this idea out the water. In his post, he says, "Oh, look, Democrats want to steal the election and invalidate the will of the American people," ending it by saying that this is a direct threat to democracy. Many users online commented and said that we don't hate legacy media enough because this idea is being shared by legacy media, obviously because they hate Trump and everything that he stands for. And the same could be said for those who wrote this op-ed. Evan Davis and David Schultz, two Democratic lawyers, people who Chris LaCivita, former 2024 campaign Trump advisor, called as idiots. But to be frank, guys, this isn't the first time that we've heard someone call out for Trump to be blocked from taking office. Back in 2016, we saw a lot of liberal celebrities coming out, speaking out about Trump winning. Something that's probably not going to happen as their opinions are seen by the majority as useless. But here was their last-ditch effort to try and get rid of Trump back then.
Republican members of the Electoral College, this message is for you. As you know, our founding fathers built the Electoral College to safeguard the American people from the dangers of a demagogue and to ensure that the presidency only goes to someone who is to an eminent degree endowed with the requisite qualifications.
An eminent degree. Someone who is highly qualified for the job.
The Electoral College was created specifically to prevent an unfit candidate from becoming president.
There are 538 members of the Electoral College. You
and just 36 other conscientious Republican electors can make a difference
by voting your conscience on December 19th.
And thereby shaping the future of our nation.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
As you know, the Constitution gives electors the right to vote for any eligible person.
Any eligible person, no matter which party they belong to.
But it should certainly be someone you consider especially competent.
Especially competent to serve as President of the United States of America.
These same celebrities, they had no problem with Joe Biden taking office in 2020, and we knew back then that he wasn't fit for office. But did we hear anything from these far-left liberals? Not a peep. And in 2024, we have confirmation that President Joe Biden hasn't been running the country at all. So where's the outrage from these same people? Why didn't they make some corny video with a sad soundtrack to get Biden out the White House? Let's face it, guys. The American people are aware of the theatrics, and we're not going to be fooled anymore by actors and actresses that lie for a living. I also want to note that this isn't the first time that they've used an opinion piece to sway the minds of the people. Back in 2016, after Trump won, the Washington Post released an op-ed entitled, "The Constitution Lets the Electoral College Choose the Winner. They should choose Clinton." So, yes, this is a recycled tactic, one that's already failed before. So, do you guys think that it's a good idea to keep pushing this idea to the American people? Now, speaking of failures, the border crisis has once again taken the life of another American citizen. I discussed this in a previous video, guys. An illegal immigrant who was deported by Trump re-entered the country illegally. An individual who recently set fire to a woman in a New York City subway station. This is disturbing news, but it's the news that we need to know, guys. So make sure you check that video out after this one. As always, I appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.